to another edition of the Student Fire Podcast, live from the Speak Fire studio. My name is Bobby Berg. I'm a motivational speaker for schools, and I am here to help you live your best life today. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Student Fire Podcast, live from the Speak Fire studio. I'm your host, Bobby Berg, and I'm a social and emotional learning coach. And y'all, I hope you have been having a fantastic week. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, I really hope you're hanging in there. I hope that whatever struggles you're going through, you've been able to make it through comfortably, and I really hope that whatever's been eating at you, you've been able to come to terms with, or at least start to understand just a little bit better. So let's do what we do every week. Let's start by just taking a minute of mindfulness. We're going to take 5 seconds of silence, and I want you to see how you're doing. And not just I'm doing good. If you're doing good, that's great. If you're not, that's okay. But I want you to be honest with yourself with how you're feeling. 3, 2, 1, check. See, that wasn't that bad, right? Well, something I really want to talk about this week is exactly that. One of my students and I were on a coaching call the other day, and he's not doing too hot. He's been really struggling in class, and to kind of get his mind off, all these things that are bothering him, he games. So I said, well, hey man, what are you playing? He goes, I'm playing Call of Duty Warzone. I said, all right, dude, let's hop on. So we hopped on together and we're having a great time. We're not really doing that hot because my aim sometimes is a little bit off, but we were having a good time. We didn't have to talk about school. We didn't have to talk about anything that's bothering him. I said, man, whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about. Whatever you don't want to talk about, we don't have to talk about. Let's just take a couple minutes and just jam. So we did. And I don't know how many people remember the old school Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, but y'all know those could get pretty vicious pretty quickly. Well, this game that we were playing, this lobby got just as angry and mean and toxic within probably 5 seconds of the match starting. Someone had popped up. They had a sniper in the left-hand corner of the map who just wound up to do a pop shot on one of us. And a kid on our team lost his mind. And because this is a kids show and there are children here and there are, teachers and school members that listen to this, I'm not going to tell you all of the expletives that were said. However, I'm sure you can pretty well guess there were some pretty it was very colorful language. We'll put it plainly. Well, my kid got really quiet after that started. And he goes, hey man, can we hop into another lobby? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So we jumped out and hopped into something else, and the next lobby was fine. But he was still just as quiet. So after about, 2 rounds, I'm like, hey man, everything cool? He goes, yeah, no. And that's a really big moment, because he doesn't like talking about how he's feeling if it's not positive. Actually, getting him to even admit that he's not doing well took us months to get to. Well, I said, okay, man, let me ask, do you want to talk about this, or do you want to handle this on your own before we bring this up? He goes, no, man, I think I want to talk about it. And y'all, I in my head, I'm going, oh my gosh, yes, this is what we've been working for. But out loud, I'm going, okay, don't overwhelm him. This is a very big, vulnerable step that he's taking. I said, all right, what's going on? What do you want to do? And he goes, honestly, I don't know. I said, well, let me approach it to you like this. Do you want to just rant about it and have me just listen? Or do you want advice? Because these are two very different things. And he goes, honestly, I want a little bit of advice, but I just want to rant this out. I said, go for it. Y'all, for the next 3 minutes straight, this kid just went off about how awful his day had been. And I had no idea. None of us had any idea. He woke up late. His dog had puked all over his shoes, and he only has 2 pairs, and the pair that he had to wear to school now was just old and tattered and gross. And, he came back and he's like, man, my shoes were gross. I was all worried about how I looked. My outfit was all off. And, the teachers were being mean. Kids were being mean all day. And I woke up having a fantastic attitude. This is the first day in a long time that I'd woken up ready to take on the day, like you always say. I was ready. I was excited. I was enthusiastic, and life just came around and popped that bubble of happiness, and I haven't been able to bounce back from it. And I said, well, all right, dude, First off, I want to let you know that I'm very proud of you for being as upfront with me as you are. That takes a lot to admit how you're feeling. It really isn't an easy thing. It sounds like it is. But to be that vulnerable with yourself, especially with me, nah, dude, that kudos to you. I said, but also I want you to understand something. And he cut me off, which he never does. He goes, Bobby, I feel you, but check this. I'm not upset that all of these bad things happen during my week. Like they bothered me, but whatever. Like these are little things I'm not that worried about. What bothers me is when people talk to me like that. He goes, dude, I can't stand it when people tell me that I'm trash. They tell me I'm useless. They tell me I can't make it. They tell me I'm a waste of time. I'm a waste of space. Bro, I can't deal with that. He goes, man, my dad used to tell me that all the time when I was growing up. Like when I was little. And dude, it's such a trigger for me. Y'all, I just about started crying when this kid went off. Because he does not tell me how he's feeling. He doesn't tell anybody how he's feeling. But I developed this relationship with him to the point where he felt comfortable enough to say, hey, dude, here's how I'm really doing. And more importantly, here's a trauma that I've dealt with. And it might not be a massive trauma, sure, but it was impactful for me. So now this is something that really gets under my skin. And I said, all right, dude, so what are we going to do next time this happens? And he goes, you know what? There's a mute button for a reason, isn't there? And I said, yeah, there is. What are you going to do? He goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that mute button, I'm going to smash that mute button, and I'm going to shut that person up because I'm here to have a good time. And you know what happened? We hopped in the next game, someone started being toxic, and boom, they were muted. Now, all of that is really cool because we have those features where we can just, literally cut someone out of our day. But I want everyone to realize that you're going to have instances like this where some small thing is going to set you off, and I want you to be able to handle what's going on. I don't want you to have this negative reaction all day. See, I get it, when you have something bad happen in the beginning of your day and you can't bounce, you don't feel like you can really bounce back. But the problem is most people don't get to the root of why they're feeling that way. Most people just kind of feel that way and they let it sit there. And I'm like, well, cool, but dude, if something's bothering you, face it. Face it. Don't decide to just let it happen and let somebody talk to you that way, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. No, dude, that's a big deal to you. That's something that bothers you on a personal level. You have the right to be upset about that. You have the right to feel how you're feeling, and you have the right to allow yourself to feel good. So, what I want everyone to do this week is I want you to think about a situation that you found yourself in where someone said something to you and it really just set you off. What did you do to react? How did you react to that situation? Was it good? Was it bad? I mean, whatever it was, that's fine. We're not perfect. We all react in different ways to different situations. But next time something like that happens, I want you to take a deep breath and think your way out of the situation. I want you to think of a way in which you could not have to deal with that person. Now, if you're, if it's a coworker or if it's a teacher or something in person, you might have to just wait. Or you might have to say, hey, Ms. Carlson, I really appreciate, I get it. I goofed, I messed up, and I'm sorry I upset you, but can we talk after class? And you can tell them, hey, this really, I don't like when you look at me and ask me if I'm stupid in the middle of the whole class because it embarrasses me. I know you don't mean it in a mean way, but that really bothered me. You know what I'm saying? Find a way to get around the situation. If you're gaming, hit that mute button. It's there for a reason. But I don't want you to go through your day ignoring it anymore. You can't ignore how you're feeling. You cannot ignore when someone makes you feel like you are less than incredible, because you are. Hear that again. You are incredible, and you have the right to feel like a good person. Just because someone else is having a bad day does not mean they're allowed to take that bad feeling and put it on you. So this week, I really want y'all to find a way to get around that negative situation. I want you to look at yourself and go, all right, this wasn't the best situation to be in, but I'm going to find a way to make this into something positive. I'm going to deal with how I'm feeling, and I'm going to address how I'm feeling. But this feeling is not going to determine me. It does not change my self-worth. Y'all, for all our new listeners, I love you. Thank you for being here. For all my old listeners, I love you. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have a fantastic time being one with yourself. I love you very much. You are strong. You are loved. You are powerful. and I cannot wait to catch you in the next one next week. Have a wonderful week. Peace. Whew, that was another awesome episode of the Student Fire podcast. Thank y'all for sticking around for this long, but I got a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? See, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions, like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show to apps? Like, do I have to do it individually, or can I just have one place that does everything for me? And most importantly, how do I make money from my podcast? Is that even an option? Well, honestly, y'all, your answer is Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it is 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors that want to advertise on your podcast. Yes, you. That means you can get paid to make the podcast. You can get paid to podcast the right way. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. If you want to get in on this, if you want to make your podcast a reality and you want your success and your word to be a thing, man, you already know. Hop over to Anchor and give it a start. You won't regret it. Catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
I got you.
It's coming. Are you ready to ignite the fire?
We are Speak Fire.
Oh, and by the way, that's fire with a Y.
What's going on, everyone?
Internal fire.
Student Fire.
Young fire. Father's fire. Leadership fire.
Champion fire.
Unlocking the fire within.
Thank you all for tuning in. Let's grow.
Speak fire.
Speakfire.com.
Speak Fire with a Y.
We have a new episode that comes out every Monday at 4 a.m. Are you going to be up with us?
Deuces.
I am excited to bring you my new book, Trendsetter, 7 Steps to Radically Stand Out to Be the Best You. This book details my journey of coming to the United States and being excited to embrace the American culture. But unfortunately, my culture was not accepted, and I found myself being bullied as a young girl. And in this process, I decided that I wanted to disconnect from my culture to be more accepted into American culture. And through that process, I got so depressed from trying to fit in that I attempted suicide my freshman year in high school. So this book talks about the journey of what I did to become radically transformed, to be the strong woman I am today. This book is something that's really going to enable the reader to understand and embrace who they are, embrace what makes them special, and become radically transformed. Get your copy today at becomingatrendsetter.com. Again, that is becomingatrendsetter.com. Or check it out at my website at aishathomas.org.